Hello, this is Overlord Boat, and we're back with another video with SAT score. And today we'll be going over how to with submarines. So today we'll be going over the captain module builds for the American and the German submarines, and we'll be watching a little replay, talking about little tips and tricks that we've seen and such during that. So to get started, we'll be looking at the American submarine. So this build's pretty much going to be for pretty much all the American submarines. First, for the modules, you want to take main armament with the engine room protection, torpedo tubes modification, submarine steering gears module 2, submarine steering modifier 3, and the dive capacity modification 2. So plus 20% there. Now you can use Halsey as well, and here is the build for him. You get enhanced sonar, so you get a quicker sonar ping whenever you're detected. The consumable specialist for the better consumable reload. Torpedo crew training, so if you get spotted, you get faster torpedo reload. Helmsman, so when you're using your hydrophones, you're firing another submarine. You get 15 seconds of addition even after it's done, like after the cooldown's done, you still get 10% off the rudder shift time and diving plane shift time. Sonar man, so now for the Americans, since they do have faster torpedoes, you kind of want to build into the double ping build where you're trying to go after battleships and cruisers more than submarines like the Germans are able to. So you can do the sonar man and the torpedo aim master for that extra damage onto double ping targets with a citadel. Well, actually, the double ping will actually do extra damage no matter what. I apologize. Now, the improved battery efficiency. So if you're below 25% of the battery, your depletion while detected will be going down slower. Usually, if you're detected, you want to go down to maximum depth anyway, especially if your battery's low, so you're able to get away. It's kind of a good tip for that. And enlarged propeller shaft. So that means when you are 25% or low on battery, you're plus 15% faster underwater. Now let's look at the German submarine build for captain. So we use Gunther Luchens on him. Now, for the American and the Germans, there is a clear difference in how you build them. Now, these are experimental builds, so you can easily switch these builds from the Americans and Germans and test them out yourself. But as of now, the Germans are better at hunting other submarines, while the Americans are better at trying to get the double ping and trying to hit larger targets. So with Gunther, you do the enhanced sonar, liquidator, consumable specialist, torpedo crew true, helmsman, consumable enhancement, adrenaline rush, enlarged propeller, and superintendent. Now you build it this way for Gunther due to the fact that they do get on the German submarines, they do get a reserve battery. So you do want to build a little bit more into that so you have extra time underwater. And since you are going to be fighting a lot more submarines, you want to build more into the hydrophone. This makes it where the consumable action time is 70 seconds, which is a really long time. So it's way longer than the Americans. So it makes it a lot better as well. The Germans do have a faster reload on their torpedoes, which makes them a lot better for submarine hunting. While the Americans are they only reload one torpedo tube area at a time, while the Germans will reload all of them at the same time. Is there anything else you'd like to add about these two particular builds SAT score?
I think you did a good job in covering them.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. So, if you guys have any questions about these builds, definitely let us know down in the comments. Now, we are going to switch over to the replay. So, let's just talk about some easy, quick tips and tricks. What did you think are some easy tips we can just give people while we're waiting for the replay to load?
So, since subs is a completely new concept, uh, you can probably just go into co-op and get some experience. Like, some of the basic things for subs is like learning how to lead your ping. because pinging the enemy is very important to get your sub torps to lock on. And where they lock on can be pretty important. Like if your torps hit the center when you double ping the ship, you'll get a citadel. But if they just hit the bow or the stern, they're not going to do much damage.
But yeah, definitely something that I have noticed while playing submarines is that when you are when you're trying to do a dual fight with a submarine, usually it's best. So if you're pretty much bow into another submarine and they're about to torp you, pretty much what you want to do is you want to try to turn immediately either left or right and try to go up or down to try to bait them whenever they do a ping on you to get that torpedo to follow you down or up. And immediately when the torp and you see that the torp start following you, you immediately want to either dive or rise in the DCP and either go up or down the opposite direction of where you're going before, so the torpedoes will miss.
Yep. Keep in mind that you want to time your DCP correctly. If you do too close, then the torpedoes will probably pass by you anyways. If you do it too long, then you give the enemy time to acquire another lock.
Yep, exactly. Now, during this match, I do die in the match, but during that, we're gonna see how people are having problems fighting submarines, but that's just from due to inexperience, so we're gonna be seeing that later on. But during this match, something that a lot of people don't realize is at the maximum depth of submarines, they are actually invisible completely. They cannot be spotted unless they are near another submarine by 2 kilometers. So if you are being hydroed underwater, if you go to the maximum depth and do not ping, you will become invisible. And it's something that is very useful for submarines, where if they accidentally pushed in too far, or they didn't realize there was a hydro ship nearby, it's a nice little getaway. And you're going to see that I use this during this match against the DD that's going to be coming up soon. You guys are going to see that I use that little mechanic. It's something that a lot of people don't realize you can do, and it's very, very, very useful. Now, out of the two types, the Americans and the Germans, so far I enjoy the German subs more because as a submarine, you either do 2 roles. One, you're damage dealing and kind of spotting near the caps, and you're trying to hit the bigger targets, or you're hunting the enemy submarines. And the thing is, if you're hunting the enemy submarines, you want to wipe them out as quickly as possible, pretty much, or trying to, if you're able to, because then you can go and farm the enemy team. And that's something the Germans are really good at. They're really good at getting the torps. The torps are more maneuverable on the Germans due to the fact that they are slower than the Americans, so they're more maneuverable. Is there anything else you think we should add about that in particular?
It's kind of similar to destroyers. Subs are really effective against other submarines. So learning how to fight other submarines is very important, because then if you're able to win that sub fight, then you can help dictate other fights and or just farm the battleship for free damage.
But as you can see here, I was able to sneak up onto the DD, being at the maximum depth. And as you can see here, instead of staying down, I go up. I rise up to the surface versus the kid. And instead of just going down and hiding, I immediately go and torp and shotgun him. Which, at first, didn't kill him, but the team was able to be there and get him killed.
Submarines are, like, when you get that close to a ship, you can actually do a good amount of damage to destroyers. Try not to do it against battleships or cruisers, because they usually have too much health. But against a destroyer, it's a viable tactic, since if they're going to kill you with depth charges anyways, you may as well get close and try to hit them at point blank.
Yep, and as you can see here, I'm trying to ping the flag. Now, usually for if you're trying to hit a battleship or a cruiser, you want to get that ping in the midsection. Now, something that I'm still trying to learn is that you can actually slingshot your torps around an island to hit a target. But the thing is, you have to time your ping perfectly, and they have to not be able to have a DCP. If they have a DCP, pretty much they're just as your torpedoes are trying to turn, they're just gonna miss.
That's not always a bad thing though. It's pretty common for battleships to just DCP one ping or two pings. The smart battleship will DCP as soon as they see the torpedoes. But sometimes battleships will DCP the first ping, and then if you're patient, just fire your torpedoes at where you think they're going, and then once their DCP is down, you ping them again, and the torpedoes will resume their lock.
Yep.
So don't be worried if your first ping gets DCP'd or you just lose the lock, because as long as you have some sort of lock, the torpedoes will go for the target. So you can lose the lock in the middle of the you can lose your lock in the middle while your torpedoes are launching, and then just reacquire it.
Yep, and another reason why they say that the German submarines are better at hunting DDs, sorry, not DDs, submarines rather than the Americans is because the fact that the Americans have a lot longer torpedo range than the Germans. I believe that the Americans have a 2 to 3 kilometer longer range on the tier 10, while the Germans only have around a 10, the Americans have around a 12 or 13. So that 2 or 3 kilometer difference makes it where it's a lot harder for the Germans to hit longer range targets that are either maneuvering around or cutting away, while the Americans have an easier time because their torpedoes are also faster.
So the hydrophone will only show the ship's position at that exact moment. If he decides to speed up or change course, then you have to account or guess accordingly.
Yep, exactly. But as you can see here, somebody would probably panic and dive down, but instead I go back up onto the surface and just shotgun them.
But yeah, destroyers are normally effective against your submarines, but if you're getting close enough, you can turn it to your advantage, just because you can take the over half the destroyer's health with just one salvo.
And yep, as you can see here during this fight, I do make the mistake and I do miss the torp. He was able to dodge, you can see, by rising up. When you're launching torps at another subs, you usually do not want to launch them, bow into them straight if they're more than 3 kilometers away. You want to do a little bit of an angle. If you do a little bit of an angle, the torps are going to turn in toward their broadside, which is more likely to get a torp hit rather than just doing nose in. And as you can see here, I did mess up here and rammed the submarine when I shouldn't have. That was just an error. I did have rear torpedoes, which I should have used. Now, this is what I was wanting to show you guys. As you can see, the DD's right here, the submarine's right here. Now, if they were watching the last location, they would have noticed that he was pointing and he was going this direction here. But if you watch, he launches the depth charges away, like right here. They think he's still here, but you see, look, he's already over there. And watch, he's about to, and now the Bismarck is currently spotting him with the Hydro, but watch, once he goes to his maximum depth of 60 meters and he does not ping, he's gonna be able to go dark. And this is something that the newer players against submarines are going to have to learn, right? They're going to have to learn that you need to like kind of predict where these submarines are going to go, because right now he's dark, he's hidden, and he messed up his depth charges. He saw which way the submarine was going, but he launched them a little bit early, because as you can tell, as the submarines, as the depth charges go down, they don't detonate right away. It takes time. Now the Bismarck kind of rages in a little bit because he's pretty pissed that the Hydra doesn't spot him. At the same time, a battleship should not be trying to hunt a submarine when it does not have ASW. You need to let the DD do the work there for that. But as you can see, the moment that he went above his max range, he immediately got spotted. He's just going to go back down to his max range, and he's going to get unspotted again. Most likely. Nope, he pinged. So if you do ping at your maximum range, you do get the 20-second fire penalty for pinging. So he went back down to 60. He tried to ping and launch a torpedo, but he kind of panicked there and messed up his torpedoes. And as you can see, the Akazuki's trying to go back over again, but the last location of him was right here. So for him to do this, it didn't really make sense.
Akazuki's play in general has been very subpar. Same can be said for the Bismarck.
And this is more just an inexperience with submarines. Like, it is going to take time. And a lot of people don't understand the mechanic. The thing is that submarines are going to get into the game. It's just when at this point. Like, they've spent so much money on submarines that at this point we know they're going to go into the game. But like, it's just we don't know when, like, the exact moment. Like, we know they are, but we just don't know when. So I wanted to do this how-to video to help give people tips and tricks on how to play submarines and kind of show a little bit of example of people that are having trouble fighting submarines, as you can kind of see what their mistakes are.
So, okay, besides the Akazuki not understanding what the sub is trying to do, they also tunnel vision so hard they lost control and overall flow of the match. If they didn't notice that on the right side there was no ship left to defend their cap. So the correct play would have been to have a Bismarck head straight for C or for their home cap. Either one would have been fine. But what Bismarck did was literally lollygag around the sub against a sub he has no way of fighting. And because of that, he wastes too much time, and there's just no way for him to claw it back.
And the thing here is that the Bang Bismarck, he DCP'd the sonar ping earlier. Actually, no, he didn't. Nope. No, actually, no, he didn't. He complained during the match. That's why I thought he pinged. He actually complained about that match that he pinged, that he DCP'd but still was locked on. But probably what happened was, as you can see, the Bismarck didn't really change direction at all. So when he launched those torpedoes and probably had one ping on him, the ping probably disappeared, and the torpedoes kind of just kept going their path. And that's why I'm kind of saying that the Americans are better at longer range, because if those were German torps, they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have had the distance and time to be able to do it.
What Bismarck should have done was DCP the ping as soon as he saw the torps and then turn to the left. That way the torps would have just flown straight by. The submarine had no way of trying to ping him again because he was too busy. And Bismarck, by turning left, would have easily dodged the torpedoes.
Yep. Yep, exactly. But one of the best tricks that I can give about trying to fire torpedoes is that if you have a target that is bow into you, it is best to angle your submarine to the side and not ping right away. Just launch your torpedoes off to the side a little bit, or maybe like 15-20 degrees. Launch the torpedoes, wait a little bit depending on how far it is, and then do a ping onto the target, because that will make it where the torpedoes will turn back into the target and hit their broadside. So if you do get a green ping onto, say, a battleship that's pushing into you, you will get some nice juicy citadels if it hits their torpedo protection in the middle. But do you think there's anything else we should add about that particular?
Uh, there's quite a bit to cover with the new submarines, and always keep in mind that it's still a work in progress. So some of the things may change in the future as wargaming adds in or removes sub changes to sub mechanics. Also, this is kind of the preliminary thing. This is what we know over the first few weeks of sub combat. So we may learn more things that can help. You may also learn things on your own that may work better for the submarines.
Yep,
So don't be afraid to experiment.
yep, definitely. Trying to experiment and testing new things with these submarines will help show new strategies on how to use them. But I think that's all the time we have for the day. Hopefully this little guide helps you guys out. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys come up with your own strategies for how to play submarines or any tips of your own, definitely leave them out in the comments. I would love to be able to read them because I'm also testing submarines as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.